In the small, picturesque town of Alquezar, nestled in the Aragon region of Spain, there lived an eccentric antiquarian named Mateo Morales. Mateo had dedicated his life to uncovering ancient artifacts and hidden treasures, often venturing far from Spain on his quests. His most recent expedition had taken him to the heart of Egypt, where he discovered a sealed tomb that had remained untouched for millennia. Inside the tomb lay the mummified remains of an ancient pharaoh. Mateo, captivated by the ornate sarcophagus and the treasures within, decided to bring the mummy back to Spain, ignoring the ominous warnings inscribed on the tomb's walls. The inscriptions spoke of a curse that would befall anyone who disturbed the pharaoh's eternal rest. Mateo returned to Alquezar with his prized possession, eager to display it in his private collection. The townspeople were fascinated yet uneasy about the mummy, whispering amongst themselves about the potential dangers of bringing such an artifact into their midst. The night Mateo unveiled the mummy, a violent storm rolled into Alquezar. The wind howled, and lightning split the sky, as if nature itself was protesting the presence of the cursed relic. Undeterred, Mateo hosted a grand party in his mansion, inviting scholars, townsfolk, and curious onlookers to marvel at the ancient pharaoh. As midnight approached, the atmosphere grew heavy, with an inexplicable tension. Mateo, ever the showman, began to recount the tale of his discovery. As he spoke, the lights flickered, and a cold chill permeated the room. Suddenly, the glass case containing the mummy shattered, and the once still figure began to move. Gasps and screams filled the room as the mummy slowly rose, its hollow eyes glowing with an eerie light. Mateo, paralyzed with fear, could only watch as the ancient pharaoh turned its gaze upon him. In a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of the tomb, the mummy spoke. "You have disturbed my eternal rest. Now you shall suffer the curse of the pharaoh." Chaos erupted as the guests fled in terror. Mateo, still rooted to the spot, felt an overwhelming force constrict his chest. The room grew dark, and he collapsed, lifeless, to the floor. The next morning, the townspeople gathered outside Mateo's mansion, whispering about the horrors they had witnessed. News of Mateo's death and the mummy's curse spread quickly, casting a pall of fear over Alquezar. In the days that followed, strange and tragic events plagued the town. Crops withered, livestock perished, and a mysterious illness swept through the populace. People began to speak of shadows moving in the night and whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The once vibrant town of Alquezar was slowly being consumed by an unrelenting dread. Desperate for answers, the townsfolk sought the counsel of an elderly historian, Sofia Alvarez, who was well versed in ancient curses and legends. Sofia examined the inscriptions and artifacts Mateo had brought back and confirmed their worst fears. The curse of the pharaoh was real, and it would continue to bring misfortune until the mummy was returned to its rightful resting place. A group of brave volunteers, led by Sofia, decided to undertake the perilous journey back to Egypt. They carefully transported the mummy, enduring countless hardships and supernatural occurrences along the way. Shadows seemed to follow them, whispers filled the night air, and several members of the group succumbed to mysterious ailments. Upon reaching the tomb, Sofia recited an ancient incantation, pleading for the pharaoh's forgiveness. As they laid the mummy back in its sarcophagus, a deafening silence fell upon the chamber. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and a sense of peace seemed to settle over the tomb. The group returned to Alquezar, hoping that the curse had been lifted. Slowly, the town began to recover. The crops grew again, the livestock flourished, and the mysterious illness disappeared. Yet, the memory of the curse lingered, a haunting reminder of the consequences of disturbing the dead. Years later, the story of the cursed mummy became a cautionary tale, passed down through generations. The people of Alquezar learned to respect the ancient warnings and to honor the dead, lest they provoke the wrath of another vengeful spirit. And Mateo's mansion, abandoned and overgrown, stood as a silent testament to the horrors that had once befallen the town, a place where the shadows of the past still whispered of the curse of the pharaoh's mummy.